I'm Taylor Thomas with a CTV News update. It's finally Election Day and voters are charged up and ready to cast their ballots today. Marylanders will make a critical decision on who will run the state. CTV's Katera Jones is outside of the First Baptist Church of Glenarden in Upper Marlboro, where voters say they are excited at the possibility of seeing a black man become a governor.
The governor's seat is up for grabs here in Maryland, and voters will decide who is the best person to lead the state. Now, CTV had an opportunity to speak to voters, and many say Democrat Wes Moore is the right person for the job. If Moore wins, he will be the first black person ever elected as governor of Maryland.
I am absolutely in favor of supporting Wes Moore because he has common sense. He can speak well, he can think for himself, and I think he represents this community extremely well.
We all the way for Wes Moore.
Yeah.
All the way for Wes Moore. Are you a first-time voter? Okay, so you're the first one.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So, Wes Moore is the guy?
Yeah.
And why?
I just
feel he represents us.
Yeah.
And tell us why Wes Moore.
I just feel like he's a really good candidate. He really stands for things that I believe in.
I don't know anything about Dan Cox, but Wes Moore, I read up on him, and I think he's the guy.
It feels good to finally be a millennial that gets to not only vote for the first black president, but now make history in my own state.
Remember, if you plan to vote, polling places across the state close at 8 p.m. Katera Jones, CTV News.
As you cast your ballot today, you may notice more poll watchers than normal. That's because the Department of Justice is deploying monitors to 64 jurisdictions, including Prince George's County.
I think it's important that we make sure that people's right to vote is protected, that nobody is intimidated, and that they know that the United States Government Justice Department is out there to ensure a free and fair election.
The Justice Department says the monitors will be making sure there are no disruptions of voting rights under the Civil Rights Act and the Americans with Disabilities Act. There are just a few hours left before the polls close in Maryland. The candidates were out for one final push to voters. Glenn Ivey, who is running for Maryland's 4th Congressional District, and Senator Chris Van Hollen, who hopes to hold on to his seat, were both at the College Park polling site to speak to voters and share what they believed is at stake.
There's so many things that are on the ballot now, I think, that impact people's lives at every level. You know, it's the economy, I think it's the democracy, I think there's safety issues for people. I think all of those things are on the ballot, but we want to make sure people have a lot of different challenges facing them. Democrats are stepping up to try and address those.
Voter turnout this morning was light but steady at the College Park location. Officials are expecting crowds this evening. If you are not registered and you want to take part in the voting process in the state of Maryland, it is not too late. Election officials say you just need to have your ID and you can cast a ballot today with everyone else.
We are asking that you bring a driver's license or a Maryland state ID in order for us to process you, and at that point, again, even if you are not registered, all is not lost. As long as you have those two forms of ID, either one of the two forms of ID, you can vote. If you do not have one of the two forms of ID, your driver's license or your Maryland state ID, you can bring a proof of residency, proof of any other identification, and you will have to vote a provisional ballot.
Remember that the polls in Maryland close tonight at 8 p.m. Election officials say if you are in line at 8 p.m., you will be able to cast a ballot. Well, results from the recent primary election took longer to tabulate due to the large number of mail-in ballots that couldn't be counted until after Election Day. Well, that's changed for the general election after Maryland's Board of Elections got a court order allowing for the early counting of mail-in ballots. State officials say that after polls close, the first set of results released will be early voting and mail-in ballots for counties that started counting before Election Day, but don't expect results from all the races tonight, particularly those close where candidates can request a recount within 3 days after results are certified. You can visit election.maryland.gov for the latest results. You're watching CTV News. I'm Taylor Thomas. Back in a moment.
Know what it's like to go to war, to bravely step forward and sacrifice for what you believe is right. We see those who are redefining what it means to serve, to be a patriot, a hero, and to save lives. From our nation's injured veterans to the faces of courage across America today, we see you, we support you, we salute you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service.
Welcome back. 2 pedestrians have died after a crash near a school being used as a voting center in Gaithersburg. It happened around 7:20 this morning at the School Drive and Muddy Branch Road near Fields Road Elementary School. The victims were identified as a 70-year-old woman and a 65-year-old man. They were taken to a local hospital where they were pronounced dead. Police say they were using the crosswalk at the time of the incident, and the driver remained on the scene. The cause of the accident remains under investigation. She was the longest-serving woman in the Maryland General Assembly. Montgomery County's former District 20 delegate Sheila Hickson has died. Hickson, who passed away Sunday night, is being remembered as a hometown hero who served more than 4 decades in Annapolis. Her years included advocacy relating to civil rights, education, and the environment. Sheila Hickson was 89 years old. On Friday, the nation salutes the millions of Americans who have served in the U.S. Army forces. Initially called Artemis Day, Veterans Day marked the formal ending of major hostilities of World War I, which happened at the 11th hour on the 11th day on the 11th month. One of those proud veterans is retired U.S. Air Force Major Dr. James Dula, who spoke to CTV about upcoming Veterans Day events.
For example, tomorrow, which is on Wednesday, we are going to host the County Executive's first Veteran Affairs Appreciation Luncheon. It's a salute to our veterans, and we're expecting over 400 veterans to attend that event. Also, we're looking at events that's been sponsored by the Vet Center, as well as the housing office here in Prince George's County. And so it's a lot of things happening with our churches, our nonprofits, and if anyone wants to know what's happening in our community, they can always call the Office of Veteran Affairs, and we'll be glad to share with them day by day what's taking place.
To get more information on all of the activities, call the Office of Veterans Affairs at 301-952-3904. The FDA sends a warning to an import firm that is in Laurel. Fasema on Washington Boulevard imports numbers of food and products. The company reportedly was not in compliance with FDA regulations for several food products during a recent 2-month-long inspection. The products include, in question, actually, a tomato sauce, peanuts, and toffee candy from Nicaragua. And still ahead on the news, sports talk with Amber Nichols, the GM of the Capital City Go-Go's. Stay with us.
When it comes to making plans, you are the best. Remember the best planned 90 minutes of your life? Or that surprise party for your parents' golden anniversary? You get the golden planning. The same way you plan each detail for those moments, start planning to protect you and your loved ones from a natural disaster. Sign up for local weather and emergency alerts. Prepare an emergency kit and make a family communications plan. Protecting your family is the best plan you can make.
A new report says a Prince George's coal ash facility ranks as one of the nation's top 10 most contaminated sites. CTV first brought you the story of the Brandywine site, now owned by Geon, more than a decade ago. We visited on a windy day when fly ashes are floated throughout the air. The site now ranks as the 7th most contaminated in the country. The report by 2 environmental groups contains information on groundwater contamination, including high levels of arsenic, lead, and other toxins. In 2015, the EPA developed new regulations on proper disposal of coal ash from electric companies, but environmentalists say the rule wasn't enforced during the Trump administration. Montgomery County launches a new COVID-19 wastewater surveillance project. Health officials have partnered with the University of Maryland to conduct the project. Wastewater is an accurate way to detect illness-caused viruses and bacteria such as the coronavirus. Samples will be collected at 5 sites biweekly and sent to UMD for analysis. Data and results will be posted on Montgomery's COVID-19 website. The information will be updated weekly. Sports. All right, sports news. At the young age of 29 years old, Amber Nichols appears to be a rising star in the NBA. The Raleigh, North Carolina native has gone from working in sales with the Sacramento Kings to now being the general manager of the new Capital City Go-Go. The Go-Go team is the Washington Wizards G League affiliate. Nichols works closely with the Wizards to help them find and develop talent. We spoke to her earlier today about her rapid rise in the NBA.
I'm definitely amazed. I don't want to take for granted how fast the rise has been. I know there are a lot of people that have come before me that, are my colleagues that, their time didn't come as fast. And, I don't, want to take it for granted. I appreciate my circle and my village for supporting me. And, I'm grateful that I have, a great deal of responsibility to this organization, to these players, to my staff as well. And it's something that I don't, take for granted. But I am surprised, but at the same time, I'm not. I worked really, really hard for this. And, I'm very grateful for the organization for giving me this opportunity very quickly and seeing, talent in me and helping me grow. And I'm just really thankful to the Wizards organization for that.
The Capital City Go-Go are currently 1-1 and go up against the Delaware Blue Coach Thursday night at 7 o'clock. The Washington Wizards took to the court last night and handed the Charlotte Hornets their 5th straight loss. The Wizards were coming off of a tough loss against the Memphis Grizzlies on Sunday and were looking to avoid losing 3 straight games. Head coach Wes Unseld Jr. spoke about it after the win.
I think it's just one of those things where we had a chance to win it last night. Really battled back from a significant deficit to make it a ball game and gave ourselves a chance but fell short. So I thought it was good that we didn't hang our heads about that. We were able to turn the page, learn, some things from last night, but come out and compete. And it's not going to be mistake-free, but the fact that we were able to compete just to give ourselves a chance, played hard enough, made enough plays.
The Wizards face off against the Dallas Mavericks Thursday night at 7 o'clock. Turning now to our weather forecast tonight, clear with lows around 39 degrees. Wednesday, sunny skies, highs near 58. Thursday, mostly cloudy and warmer, highs around 67 degrees. Friday, rains in the forecast, highs in the 60s. And that's your CTV News Update. I'm Taylor Thomas. Good night.
In you.
Each day brings hope.
Every day, millions of people celebrate their recovery from addiction and mental illness while others begin their journey. Be a part of it. Tell your story. Join the Voices for Recovery. Together, we are stronger. For 24-hour free and confidential information and treatment referral for mental or substance use disorders for you or someone you know, call 1-800-662-HELP.